Recording in progress.
There's a
All right, Senator. Thanks for making time today. You wanted to brief media on some matters with regards to the impeachment trial.
Thank you, Thomas. Glad to be here. Welcome.
And so I guess we can just start on what the road ahead looks like. I know Senator Edith was one to propose that the same Senate rules be adopted that were drafted for then Governor Benigno Fitiel. What is the path ahead with regards to impeachment trial in the Senate for Governor Ralph Torres?
Well, thank you for the question. So I've went ahead and I've assigned the resolution to the Joint Committee, which consists of the JGALFR chaired by Senator Carl King Neighbors and Executive Appointment and Governmental Investigation chaired by Senator Cruz, in which they're tasked to review the document, the articles of impeachment that was adopted by the House, and to prepare the Senate for the impending trial, which will be announced at a later date.
And how long is that expected to take?
Well, I've assigned it by way of memo, as we were supposed to have a Senate session today, which I would have done it then, but because of unforeseen situation happened to two members who got stranded in road because of flight situation, I had to postpone it until next week. So I went ahead and I signed off a memo designating the document over to the Joint Committee for review, inclusive of the Senate rules of impeachment for consideration by the full Senate.
And what exactly was transmitted to the Senate? Did you receive that the Senate will review from the House? What did you receive and when did you receive it?
We received the resolution, the impeachment resolution, and was transmitted to the Senate on the 15th of January. So that triggers the property of the Senate, in which by then, as presiding officer, I assigned it to the respective committees.
And Senator, there's a lot of speculation. We just had Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios on our morning show, The Link this morning, who say that the Senate is likely to not convict Governor Torres, given that it is Republican-led. What's your comment on that?
I didn't hear the interview or the comment made by the Lieutenant Governor, but I would say this, that the Senate will provide both parties an opportunity to present what they have before the Senate, and we'll go from there.
And in terms of House impeachment managers and also possible judge or justice that will be involved in the process, have you given thought to that, or what would you like to see happen in terms of those specific part of the impeachment trial?
That is the responsibility of the rules. The rules is going to come out of the rules, which is going to govern the how that would come about.
And why not just adopt the Senate rules that were drafted in 2013?
Different times, different members that are involved this year. I want to give an opportunity to the new members that are not been here in the past to also give some of their views, as they, I'm talking about the senators, they will be responsible with the proceedings as we move ahead with those dates.
And Senator, you were Senate President then, and you are again Senate President in this situation. What's your reflection, or do you have a comment on how you're involved again in another impeachment proceeding, given that last time it didn't happen?
I honestly, I guess I'm the only presiding officer in the Senate that can be able to say this, that I'm the only one that is faced with this 2 times over. It's not fun times in the CNMI. It's really an interesting times, and we'll go from there. I would again, we're going to give both parties an opportunity to present their case.
And have you been watching the JGO investigation hearings? Did you watch the House vote when it happened?
No, I didn't. I was here early in the morning during the session, but I had to leave for other matters outside the office.
Right. That's all the questions for now.
Thank you. Should I mute you, Tommy? Is that okay? Or do you want to just...
Yeah, that's fine. I'll stand by in case any follow-ups after the other reporters.
All right. So, and maybe for the sake of for everyone here, I just called, I rescheduled Senate for the 3rd next week. So the 10 o'clock to Thursday. There's other items in the legislative calendar that we need to tend to as well.
Sorry, Senator, do you mind unmuting yourself just so that we can hear what's happening? I'll keep myself muted.
There's there's 2 committees that will be handling or handling the impeachment, right?
Joint committee, yeah.
Okay. And this committee will be looking into the impeachment of article, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And as well as the rules, the proposed rules.
They will be drafting the rules, or?
They'll be working on the rules as officially as of today, where I assign it. My memo, the respective chairman will be calling their own committee meeting to address some of the rules governing the impeachment process. So.
Okay. And then what will happen to the resolution introduced by?
That's also going to be assigned to by rule right now, by Senate rule. It automatically is assigned to the committee. Yeah, JGL. Yeah. To the respective committee, which is JGLFR, I believe. So.
Okay. And who will be the presiding judge?
That is still pending. We've reached out officially, but again, everything right now is still pending the adoption of the rules, because there are some elements of the process, and where in how to approach this in terms of picking the presiding or the judge to facilitate the hearing.
When you issue the memo to the 2 committees, right? Did you issue a deadline?
They will become. I'll be issuing them a deadline. I'm actually going to ask them to come back to me as soon as next week to give me a estimated time or a deadline as to when are we going to see a product of the rules.
Okay. Have you spoken with 4 leaders of law about the possibility of him accusing himself of the proceedings, given that he?
I think you better ask that question to him. It's more appropriate if he does. I know that it is obvious, right, that it's out there, but I defer that you ask that question to him.
And in the instance, if he does in fact recuse himself and the vote comes down to 8 members, and let's say in the instance that it's tied 4-4, what would happen then?
Well, I'm going to have to compel him to vote as a presiding officer to cast his vote. He's still a member of the Senate, after all.
Usually, the presiding judge is the Senate president, right?
Again, this is a whole new thing for all of us here. We've never done it before, so we've extracted a lot of, and the committee chair will be responsible with some of the getting some guidance from other jurisdiction similar to ours, and I am anxious to see the product of the rules assigned to the respective committees.
But the resolution introduced by Edith Leon Guerrero and Paul Malonia, it's only pre-filed.
Exactly.
So in other words, it's not been assigned to the committees that you mentioned.
Well, I intend to assign it, if that's what you're trying to say. Yeah. The floor leader by rule, he can assign those. So I'm going to either we go in the Senate rules or as presiding officer, I can assign it.
What's your comment about when the governor is impeached? He will be the lieutenant governor.
I respectfully ask that I don't respond to any preemptive occurrence, as I do respect that we need to respect the process of which what's before us. And again, I'm going to keep repeating myself that we're going to give both sides an opportunity to present their case.
Sir, can I get what's the difference between the impeachment before Governor Pichal and Governor Torres? What's the difference of the impeachment? I know that Governor Pichal was been convicted, and right now Governor Torres. What's the difference of the rules for the impeachment trial between them?
I think before we even get there, the quick answer is the gentleman previously resigned before he'd even get to the Senate. So yeah. But again, I want to keep going back to say that we're going to give an opportunity to both parties to present their case, of which at the time we'll make our determination.
How hard is it for you? This impeachment issue for you, since you're a Republican and Torres is Republican?
It's again, I go back to my original statement that it is something that every one of us is fairly new for all of us. We've never gone down this path, and that's the reason why it is appropriate for us to take this carefully, tread carefully, and give opportunities to both sides to present their case.
You're not pressured.
I don't know, how do I look? Yeah. Anyway, strike that out.
Senator, have you spoken with Governor Torres since he was impeached?
I haven't spoken to him. In passing, yeah. Saipan is a small town. CNMI is a small town. And I haven't spoken to him with regards to any of the issue beforehand.
The Tinian Republicans, are they united?
The Tinian leadership is very united. Not just now, but what you see before us, but for at least the last 7-8 years.
So it means that
I don't know what that means to you.
So it means that the impeachment is an uphill battle here in the
It's
Senate.
premeditated. You're preempting the issue. So I only ask that we tread carefully, because this is a very sensitive issue in the community for all of us, and we're a small community per se, and we need to wait until those the dates have been set and the proceedings proceed, and then we'll go from there.
Senator, do you trust the process that how the House and the committee, JGO committee, went about conducting the investigation and that ultimately led to the articles being introduced to the floor? I know you're not in the House and you don't oversee what happens there, but based on what you've heard or what you've seen yourself, do you trust that the process was done the right way in the House? If there is a right way, you believe?
I know, Thomas, it's a good question, but I would refrain from commenting on what the House did. What I can
would you have done it differently?
What I can comment on is we're going to be reviewing their product that is presented before us, to be guided by the impending rules that we're all going to be adopting soon rather than later.
So do you expect to almost also invite your own, because you can call people in to testify, that's correct?
Potentially, yeah. But that's something that the respective committees that I assigned the the tasks on the rules to evaluate and discuss.
So you don't anticipate maybe calling in some of the same witnesses or even more to to verify or confirm what is found by the House? Do you anticipate that?
A lot of this product is this document. The impeachment is a process of which the House, when they did their hearings and all, I would like to say that the resolution has to be accompanied by documents to support that. So yeah, we're going to base ourselves on the products that we got.
Did you receive all of the evidence and documents that were cited, or was it just?
I assigned the committee. The committee is going to review all that.
All right.
This committee that you assigned, of course, they will come up with the recommendation, right? So the recommendation will be to accept the impeachment or deny it.
That's part of the rules committee that they're going to be working on. It's assigned to that. So.
Okay, because if they recommend to just deny it, there will be no trial, right?
Again, that will, I don't want to preempt the committee's work, but I encourage them to flush out all those potentials, possibly what you're just saying. I don't know. I don't want to, again, preempt the committee's work. But in the Constitution, it's very clear that it's the Senate will conduct the trial.
And then the two committees that you mentioned, the chairman, they are co-chairpersons for that? Or
I assigned to both of them, yeah.
okay. But these two committees will be jointly reviewing it.
They're going to be jointly reviewing it.
So there's no like the chairman or co-chairman.
There's going to be co-chairs.
And who's that?
Senator Cruz and Senator Carl King Neighbors.
Neighbors?
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Tingnan, right?
They're both committee chairs.
Okay.
Yeah. We're good? Yeah. Thomas, I'll be having a session, we'll be having a session on Thursday, which I'll give you more details in terms of the matter beforehand. And since this is the first public comment that I made, this will not be the last, of which hopefully we can get to the end of the process sooner rather than later.
What's your message to the public about this trial? The Senate will be fair and impartial.
I kept repeating that over and over. We're going to give each other, both sides, an opportunity to present their case. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your